We don't think about it, but there is a whole other world, quite literally, underneath our feet. We have sewers, cables, tunnels, and in some cases, entire streets, and we can learn a lot from them. But as the ground we walk on is solid, we give it little thought. But digging a little deeper is just as, if not more important, especially when it comes to supporting heavy loads and in some cases, buildings. It sounds ironic, but in many cases it is we ourselves that cause the most problems. There has been evidence that coal has been mined from as early as the Bronze Age, but as our ancestors lacked the more modern tools to dig deeper, they could only rely on naturally occurring sea coal that washed up on the shoreline, or if they were inland and were lucky enough to find a coal seam above surface, they could follow the seam somewhat underground. During the Industrial Revolution boom, the demand of coal was so great that typical mining techniques were simply not adequate. The use of better tools and new steam-driven pumping machines meant that people were digging coal deeper and opening more mines than ever before. The mines were dangerous, stuffy places, and the mining of coal often released lethal gases that could kill workers in minutes. Because railways were the fastest way to move coal in the period, it was common that the railways intermingled with the mining communities, and it was easily known that as the railways grew, they would often intersect and go over mines, some of which have been closed and forgotten. We see this in one incident in 1892, the Lindell Railway incident, where the ground gave way under the weight of an engine and it was lost in a mine shaft forever. For many decades after the era of coal, the mines have left their legacy. There have been many reports of both buildings and railways collapsing due to subsidence, with collapsing mines as the root cause. Trains are a particular risk. They are much faster and more frequent than before, and the vibrations from the rails, coupled with many old mines decaying and flooding over time, are causing havoc on the mine's structural support and its roof. If any of the supports fail, especially with a train going overhead, the result could be deadly. Prevention is always better than cure, so Network Rail, while doing work on the surface, also regularly monitors the old mines, looking for signs of decay and deterioration. The inspection of mines is extremely dangerous. Mines are unstable and susceptible to falling rocks and noxious gases. Headlight AI, specialists in underground mapping, are working with Network Rail with a new type of drone called Prometheus. Instead of having to find a mine entrance, this drone can enter through a borehole less than a foot across. The drone can unfurl its arms like an umbrella, and using artificial intelligence to scan the area and its array of cameras, it can give workers above a safe window into these shafts. Prometheus can go where many other robotic equipment would struggle. It doesn't have wheels, so it has no problem crossing difficult terrain. It can go deeper than most rovers, and because it has the ability to squeeze through the smallest fissures, it can scan mines and caves previously unmapped and unknown, all with the workers safely above. Drones have other uses on the railway too. At Emsey and Bolton Abbey Steam Railway, in a bid to cut costs, the railway is looking to utilise solar panelling in order to cut its electricity bills. The plan is to fit over 1,000 solar panels on the works shed roof, maximising the panel's efficiency while being out of sight of guests and customers. Before the panelling could be installed, a site survey was needed to be done, and this included the inspection of the roof. In normal circumstances, a visual inspector would have to be clipped to a cherry picker and hoisted onto the roof and scaffolding, taking up to 2 days and potentially closing a busy shed for safety. Instead, the railway looked to Network's free UAV and its drone piloted by Ian Ashworth. He piloted a Matrice drone across the roof, giving crystal clear high-definition pictures to the surveying team below. Instead of spending 2 days on site, the whole operation merely took an hour, saving the railway in time and costs. Drones are not just used for maintaining tracks, but can also be used to keep people safe. The British Transport Police team up with Network Rail and are currently using drones to help detect trespassers. By using the drone's high-powered zoom lenses and thermal imaging technology, it can pinpoint exactly where people are and reach them much faster, so disruption to trains are significantly cut, and both the police and the trespassers' safety is not compromised. While the drones are not cheap, it is a small price to pay for the 21,000 minutes of delay that trespassers have caused since April, costing the railway over £1 million in cancelled and delayed trains and compensation to passengers. To some, drones hovering overhead might seem a bit of a hobby, sometimes a bit of a nuisance. But when used correctly, drones can be useful and unlikely tool to the railway. Prometheus is currently on display at the National Railway Museum until December, along with some of the other equipment Network Rail use, such as bat detectors, and can be seen on its innovation platform conveniently sat next to its oldest exhibit, Rocket. It's fantastic to see the oldest and the newest mere meters from each other, and it's definitely worth going to see.